Joseph Murphy worked for decades that financial prosperity is not determined by chance, but the outcome of the vibration that an individual generates in their being. When Murphy observed families that faced chronic financial difficulties, he observed a fascinating and disturbing pattern. These families transported, without being aware of it, an energetic pattern of insufficiency that continued generation after generation, like a scratched record playing incessantly the same frequency of limitation. Murphy identified this pattern as energetic inheritance. He verified that every family possesses a specific emotional frequency related to money, an energy that transmits itself through conduct, unspoken convictions and reactions of the heart regarding economic adversities. This transmitted frequency acts like an invisible mechanism, defining not just what value an individual can gather, but also their primordial connection with fortune. Murphy recognized that various money-related hindrances that he observed did not stem from deficiency or negative chance, but merely in the received pattern that every being assimilated from the beginning of life. This revelation radically transformed the manner by which Murphy approached financial transmutation. In place of guiding solely profit strategies or investment strategies, Murphy dedicated himself to a more fundamental principle, transmuting the vibrational pattern regarding money that each individual inherited from their lineage. Murphy narrated remarkable examples of beings who were able to transcend this inherited vibration through specific procedures of mental reprogramming. One of these stories detailed an executive known as Roberto, whose family heritage went through a recurrent pattern of financial failure that extended over generations. His progenitor had experienced the loss of all his fortune in a disastrous speculation. His direct ancestor had gone through bankrupt companies, and Roberto, although working obsessively, encountered himself replicating this identical sabotaging pattern. Each time he achieved gathering a considerable amount of fortune, a situation appeared inexplicably, and the person saw disappear everything. It gave the impression that there existed an unseen power hindering his deliberate efforts. Murphy worked with Roberto for months, instructing him in an essential truth that would be the foundation in all his philosophy. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between wealth you achieved and money your lineage believes it deserves. If in your inner self exists the vibration that money brings risk, that growing financially is risky, that financial security is illusory or a hoax, in this way your unconscious will function incessantly to preserve you in this resonance, once it seems to be the factual reality. The unconscious does not doubt. It simply executes the scripts that were implanted in your consciousness through family living. Roberto ultimately understood that he was not slothful or inadequate, he was formatted. And psychic structures can be reconfigured. Murphy revealed that when you reformulate the dominant vibrational pattern in your consciousness, you modify the directive that you emit to your deep being. It is like reconfiguring a system that was functioning with outdated software, which is problematic. If the program stays established, capacitated to receive merely an exact quantity of wealth, then that will be precisely what you will receive, regardless of how much you work. Murphy showed this truth utilizing contemplative visualization systems that he had instituted in the course of decades. He oriented his patients to expend 5 to 10 minutes daily in the morning, if possible, as soon as waking up when the psyche is situated in an alpha state of openness, visualizing not merely the entry of capital in their existence, but primarily the internal living of confidence, deep certainty and recognition of merit that follows this entry. Murphy emphasized decidedly that this internal experience represented the fundamental key. It was not the wealth independently that had importance for the transformation. It constituted the frequency that the being formed in relation to money. With Roberto, Murphy began a process that he called Ancestral Vibrational Transmutation, a process that he had refined through countless successful cases. Roberto would need to, during a period of 2 months, reserve 15 minutes daily at night when going to sleep in a deepened meditative state. In this meditative state, Roberto should become aware of, with full consciousness, the entire financial legacy of his ancestors. He should mentally evoke his grandfather dealing with the economic disaster, his father fighting failed ventures, and all these beings who came before, who came in his lineage, bearing similar patterns. Then, on the mental plane, Roberto should enunciate with real feeling, "I recognize what you lived. I honor with reverence the challenges you faced. I admire the path you walked and the difficulties you faced. Nevertheless now, in this precious instant, I let go of this resonance of scarcity from my being. I fix a new vibration for my family. From this moment on my path, circulation of resources, prosperity and financial certainty constitute the main vibration that rules my trajectory and my life." Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy developed a principle that he referred to as Law of Vibrational Correspondence, an axiom that he had confirmed in hundreds of cases. This axiom asserts that the external reality always responds exactly to the dominant psyche. If internally you vibrate with intense fear of scarcity, then the external world will present constantly moments that confirm this terror and validate your limiting thought. If in your interior you resonate genuine security in your innate fullness, then the external circumstances will present perspectives that nourish and increase this confidence. The most revolutionary aspect of this principle is that it performs regardless of your present position or your previous experiences. A person completely indebted who transforms their dominant vibration to plenty will begin, over weeks, to notice small changes that are apparent. These alterations tend to be subtle at the beginning, but are indicators of a genuine transmutation. An unexpected cost is prevented inasmuch as you choose to cease making an impulsive purchase. A possibility appears because you found yourself in better mental state to communicate with someone important. Your complete self begins to vibrate in a distinct vibrational pattern. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To generate this change of vibration that was permanent and deep, Murphy created a method structured in 3 stages that he believed absolutely essential for the victory. The first moment is the process Murphy referred to conscious ancestral recognition, and he reiterated that it was ineffective to progress without ending authentically this first step. In this pass, you need to dedicate time sincerely welcoming the complete financial history of your family group. This does not constitute holding responsible your progenitors or rebuffing them with negative emotion. It means merely seeing with perfect clarity what they endured, the deep wounds that they experienced, the patterns that they developed as a way of surviving in periods of difficulty. Murphy observed that many people tried to ignore this uncomfortable trajectory, sought to make believe it was not there, and this blocked totally the true transformation. It remains truly impossible to let go of what you deny consciously to recognize. Murphy oriented his apprentices to initiate this simple technique, which is life-changing. In the night period, if possible at bedtime when the mind finds itself more receptive, install yourself in complete silence. Breathe deeply multiple times, and on the mental plane, contemplate deeply on your lineage. Visualize the faces of your predecessors, admit the obstacles that they faced. Communicate internally with genuineness a declaration like, "I admit that you, the one who begot me, faced immeasurable losses that originated deep dread in your core. I admit that you, my grandmother, developed survival strategies that were passed through generations. Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet and becomes something you see with absolute clarity and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, "I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance. From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow." Murphy instructed that this proclamation acts for it, institutes a new authority in your being. You are not refusing your family or your trajectory. You find yourself simply realizing your legitimate right as a knowing entity who is free to choose a new resonance. Murphy had observed multiple cases validated where this confession, when expressed with true emotional sincerity, engendered a vibrational rupture so powerful and genuine that observable transformations started in subsequent days. He had documented situations where beings reported extraordinarily clear dreams and exceptional dreams immediately after the proclamation. Oniric experiences where their forebears showed themselves to accept this change with silent acquiescence and energetic consent. Notwithstanding Murphy showed himself a rigorous scholar who was meticulous in his general method, he accepted that there prevailed occurrences that transcended purely material logic and Cartesian logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he sustained this vivid visualization and perceived, Murphy instructed with determination, "Say internally with genuine conviction, my supreme vibrational state now is conscious fullness. My physical being oscillates perfectly with financial security. My unconscious mind finds itself totally reformatted-oriented to embrace abundantly, to conquer integrally, and to retain perpetually fullness. My aura establishes itself harmonized perfectly with possibility, infinite movement, and infinite elevation. The lack that was bequeathed extinguished itself entirely eternally. The wealth that constitutes my original divine heritage consolidates itself presently as the definitive condition of my being." Murphy stated unequivocally that these sentences must be enunciated not robotically out of habit or in a shallow way, but with true deep feeling, with honesty that emanates from the being, as if you found yourself manifesting the most important truth and basic of your complete journey. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage, the rational mind began to doubt and question. How can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy oriented that this last stage be fulfilled each day, absolutely without pauses, for a term of 40 days in a row. He had determined this interval of 40 days, for he had noticed in countless cases that it was specifically the necessary time for a new vibration to consolidate itself integrally as the predominant vibration in the core of the deep being. The first 2 periods of a week are about establishment and consolidation of the transformed energy. The new frequency still feels tenuous and inconstant. It still fights vigorously with the primitive molds that seek to remain. In days 15 to 28, something radically alters and emancipates itself. The new resonance starts slowly to conquer authentic vigor, to live more spontaneous and true, more real to your core. In the period of 29 to 40 days, the new vibration finally firms itself as the dominant pattern that guides your responses. Following 40 days of permanent realization and heartfelt practice, Murphy observed that his patients described an emotional transformation so radical that it was perceptible even to external observers. The dread that stagnates concerning money faded substantially until extinguishing itself. The guilt of evolving economically and receiving dissolved itself integrally. A security which was restful, transforming and solid in the coming prosperity started to arise fluidly from your interior. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly, an unexpected expense that was providentially avoided, a casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins, always with small synchronicities, indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy accentuated a fundamental point that countless ignored completely in their execution. During these 40 days of disciplined realization, the practical actions equally have fundamental importance. The resonance establishes the fertile ground, yet you still need to possess the valor to take action. If an opportunity appears on your course, you necessitate to develop the courage to explore it honestly. If a conception surges about how to multiply your revenue or to expand your revenue flows, you necessitate to keep yourself open to carry it out with conviction. Murphy identified this as aligned action, and it remained completely essential. It represents the action that surges fluidly once your vibration has altered to plenty. This act reveals itself fundamentally diverse from the desperate act seated in anxiety. It is conduct that is resolute, crystal clear, intuitive, and accurate. Murphy recognized that when his clients kept the correct vibration and performed regularly in synchronization with this vibrational pattern, the opportunities opened in manners that before presented themselves absolutely impossible or practically miraculous. The path that Murphy presented was fundamentally a way of genuine emancipation and deep. It was not dodging from real problems. It was facing the real situation that you saw yourself as conditioned by inherited vibrational pattern and resolving in a conscious way and with authority to alter this resonance totally. It represented accepting that you shelter extraordinary strength, not simply to modify your own existence, but to transcend the entire journey and hereafter of your complete family. This recognition constitutes genuine power in its truest form, not the power simply to conquer or to win against enemies. However, the true power to transform vibration, to transcend old limitations. This teaching, Murphy revealed with unshakable conviction, signifies the genuine liberation which is material and divine that all beings yearns for.